Hey fellow foodies, it's Faye from faysfood.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious flourless chocolate cake, which is perfect for Valentine's Day, but is also perfect any time of the year. So this is a easy recipe. However, it's definitely a recipe you need to mise en place for. You need to get all your prep work done ahead of time. And the reason for that is because we're using a meringue in the recipe, and anytime you use a meringue, it is time sensitive. You need to use it right away. So please keep that in mind. Prep everything, your oven, your ingredients, and your pan. You will need a scale as well, so just keep that in mind. And yeah, once that's all ready to go, you can start your recipe. All right, so in this bowl, I have butter, unsalted butter, specifically some Ghirardelli chocolate, a mix of semi-sweet and bittersweet, cocoa powder, salt, and coffee granules. And we're just creating a double boiler here, so I just have a pot of water that I brought to a boil, and I'm placing my bowl of chocolate and things over that. And I'm using a rubber spatula that is heat proof. And I'm gonna mix this basically over a low heat. You don't wanna make the heat too high because we don't want the chocolate to break. We're gonna mix this basically until it is melted. And also I have some cocoa powder in there. I don't think I mentioned that. But this will take some time. You just gotta be patient with it. And eventually you'll get to the stage where it's fully melted, it's glossy, and it's perfect. Now, you can leave the bowl over the double boiler off heat, just so that the chocolate remains melted. But eventually you want to take it off to let it cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. So next we can work on the yolks. I have this whisk that I definitely wouldn't recommend. Definitely recommend a metal whisk if you can get it, but I couldn't find mine, so I'll just have to make do. So I'm gonna just whisk this mixture, the egg yolks, it's just egg yolks, no sugar, basically until we're looking for this. We're looking for it to get thicker, it to get lighter in color, and for the mixture to basically ribbon off the whisk. Okay, so if you ever made custard or ice cream or even mayo, this will look somewhat familiar. So if it's ribboning off your whisk like this, and it's lighter in color like it is for me, and it's become thicker, as you can see when I whisk it, you know it's ready to go. All right, so now we have our semi-cooled chocolate. I'm gonna just pour the egg yolks all at once into the chocolate. And then I'm gonna just gently fold the yolks into the chocolate. I don't wanna overfold, I just wanna combine them. And it's very important that all your ingredients that came from the fridge are at room temp. I say this nearly every video that involves baking, but it's very important. Okay, so we're making a meringue. Things with meringues that you have to remember is the bowl and the whisk should be super clean. If it's not, this won't work. They should be at room temp, the egg whites. And you want to start with a medium speed. We're going to gradually add in the granulated sugar. Okay, and the reason for that is if we start with a high speed and it gets going quickly, you run the risk of overbeating the egg whites, and we don't want to do that. A medium speed, I find, keeps you in control a little bit more. With whipped cream, you always want to start high and end high. With meringue or egg whites, you always want to kind of start on the lower end and then work your way up to a higher speed. All right, so once all the egg whites are in there, I'm going to bump up the speed just a little bit. And basically we're just going to whip this until it becomes kind of double in volume. It gets glossier, whiter in color, and it reaches what we call a soft peak. So this will take just a few minutes. And you can see I have a medium high speed. Alright, and once I see that I am there, I'm going to show you what it should look like. So you can see how the egg whites are coming off my whip attachment very easily. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in terms of a soft peak. We don't want it any more than that. So this is ready to go. And like I said, once you make a meringue, you want to use it pretty much immediately. So now that everything else is done, we can go ahead and just fold this into our chocolate mixture. So I have the chocolate mixture. There's just a little bit of egg yolk in there that I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to continue folding a little bit. And then I'm going to add the meringue in 2 additions. And you want to make sure to fold this properly. Use the proper folding technique, which is spin your bowl while you fold it in. We don't want to deflate our meringue. All that air that we're trying to work into the cake would be gone, so you really want to be sure not to overdo it. So I added in the second edition of meringue and folded that all in, and this is what our mixture looks like when it's all said and done. So this is our batter ready to go. You can see how it's kind of standing tall, and that's all that air in that batter. So I prepped my 8-inch cake pan with some pan grease, which I have a recipe for on my blog, some cooking spray, and some cocoa powder. So this is ready to go. My oven has been preheating at 375. That's ready to go. I'm going to gently pour this mixture into the pan. You really want to be careful not to deflate anything here. Be very gentle throughout this process. Alright, so this is our batter in our pan, ready to go. Now, ideally, you want to use an offset spatula to even out the batter. Unfortunately, all I can find is this straight spatula, so I'm just going to have to make do. So really all you're doing is evening out the batter as much as you can. Alright, so that's as good as it's gonna get. We're gonna bake this at 375 for about 20 to 23 minutes. All ovens run at different temperatures, some run hotter than others, but for me, about 20 minutes was perfect. You do want to make sure to test it with a toothpick in the middle, and it should come out with a few moist crumbs, but it shouldn't be liquid. So out of the oven, this is what it looks like. There is a crack in the middle, but that's totally normal. And you will see that as it cools, we're gonna cool it for about 15 to 20 minutes. But as it cools, it will shrink. It will shrink off the sides, and the cake overall will shrink, and that's totally normal, so don't freak out. Alright, so I did turn the cake out, and you can kind of see in the middle, it did break a little bit, some stuck to the pan, but that's totally fine, because what you can do is cover it up, and that's all I'm doing here with some powdered sugar. The thing with this cake is you can get creative and decorate it as you please, and that's the fun part. So all I did was some powdered sugar, a little strawberry in the middle for some color, and that is my finished cake. Like I said, you can be creative. You can cover it with some whipped cream. You can even make a glaze or a ganache. Just go crazy with it and then do as you please. Alright, so this is our finished cake. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slice into it now. I'm going to move the garnish just a little bit so I can get a nice big slice. And this cuts super easy. It's very spongy. which makes it very easy to cut. The strawberry keeps getting in my way, but we'll make it work. So just cut a slice. And I want you to see just how the texture is for this cake. Look at that. You can kind of see it's spongy, but it's also kind of fudgy. And that is our cake slice. I'm going to decorate it. I'm not the best at plating, but I'll do my best here. But you can just see that texture is amazing. Alright, so that's our cake. We can definitely serve it like that, and that would be perfectly fine. I'm gonna add some whipped cream to mine. I'm not sure why I did this kind of old school design, but I went with it. And personally, typically with flourless chocolate cake, you serve it with raspberries. I personally like strawberries a bit more, but if you want to serve it with raspberries, you can totally do that. But I'm just going to add a bit of strawberry sauce to the cake. Just like that. And just to be extra with it, I'm going to write in some chocolate on the plate, just to show you that this can definitely be served for your Valentine's Day, but also you can just serve it as is anytime. So you can see just how beautiful the end product is here. Our flourless chocolate cake. I can tell you, you do not miss the flour. It's not a brownie like some flourless chocolate cakes tend to taste like. This isn't super dense and fudgy. It is fudgy, however it's also very light, which is unique. So I definitely recommend you give this a try. You can see if I cut into it, just I'm going to show you a little bit of the interior texture. Look how light that looks. The chocolate is there because we use the cocoa powder and the real chocolate. Definitely pronounced chocolate flavor. It's fudgy yet light. It almost like melts in your mouth, really. And the combination of the strawberry and chocolate is to die for. Give this a try. For the full recipe, go to facefood.com. Comment below if you have any comments or questions. Subscribe to this channel for more great videos on the way. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day.
I've been reading you to figure what you're down for. I wanna figure out to make it come around. No, we should quit the game and settle things right here, right now. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about all the things you do. I wanna take you from everything.